YouTube. We're coming at you with replacing the fuel pump on Dobin, and then the fuel pump lines. I've got the tank to pump line, and then the pump, obviously, new pump, and then the hard line and some rubber line that'll go from the pump to the carburetor. You know, it's always a good day when LMC brings you a box. But we've got the big line, main line, and then the hard line, and then there's some more rubber fuel line in there in that box. So the plan is going to be over the next couple days to get the sun out of your face. Is going to be replace all of that. First, we'll take the delivery line off of the tank side, try and clean the tank out. It's got, I think, probably 7 or 8 gallons of fuel. Part bad, part good. We put some fuel in it when we tried to start it a couple months back. And then hopefully with that, we'll be able to get her running. And then once we get it running, we'll be able to move on to brake lines. But that's what's going on today. All right, the old one is off now, so there's the old one. Now the fun of putting the new one on. Trying to get the plunger pried back up and out of the way so we can put that one in. I'm gonna see if I can try and get it on camera, because I learned the hard way. I've never actually changed one of these. Before you take this out, if you take one of those fuel pump bolts, and there's a hole right there, you take one of them bolts out and you should be able to put that in one of those front crankcase holes, that top one right there. Mine didn't have a bolt in it. There should be a short bolt you take out. That bolt will run in there and hold the plunger that actuates this pump, so that you're not having to do what I did and fight it, because I fought it. It's an absolute pain. The plunger gets pried against the wall, and I ended up having to there's a little plate that the fuel pump mounts to. I took it off, and there's a plate that it mounts to. I ended up taking that off and having to push that plunger back in there. And I don't know if my threads were gummed up on the front of the block, but that bolt would not go through. And there's been some other YouTube videos that I watched that their bolt went in, and so I just had to pry it with a screw. I kept it held up with a screwdriver, and then put the plate back on, and then was able to keep that screwdriver up there, and then just fish the fuel pump in underneath of the screwdriver and pull the screwdriver out. So hopefully someone that watches this, if they end up changing one of these old mechanical style fuel pumps, and from the way that I saw it, GM and Dodge, and I think they said some Ford of this era, this generation, I think 60s to 80s, they said that it worked like that too. On to our next fuel line. So this one is supposed to go from the pump up to the carburetor, and I've got that one. The only problem is the old one that came off looked something like that. So we're going to try and figure out how and where it needs to go and place it right. I'm going to try and keep the fuel filter right there and just run some of this hose there off of this line. I'm sure I've got this all completely wrong, but this is the only way that it looks to make sense. There's pardon my camera skills, there's that bottom fitting, and it lines up, that hose bend lines up just right around there, around the pump and everything, but then it comes up and sitting how it should, lined up. I mean, the only thing that could explain to me is I'm doing something wrong, or I ordered the wrong fuel line. But we'll try and make it work with some of the rubber hose and then go from there. I'm sure there's someone that'll be in the comments saying that I ordered the wrong piece, and well, if I did, hopefully you can drop the right part number and then I can replace it with the right one. So we'll keep going. Well, I have to say it's been a while since I've recorded anything. I've not done a real good job of recording today. I've got underneath there, the tank is mostly loose except the hard lines. You can't really see them. Not in a great spot to get to. So I decided to try and pull the bed. Well, because this truck has sat for so long, all of these bed bolts, the threads are gommed and seized beyond recognition. So I'll be trying to drill them out, I guess, or cut them off and get new bed bolts to take the bed off. Just kind of a, I don't know, a keeper update of what I've done. I can't remember if I've talked about this truck, putting it together more in recent videos. I've made the passenger side. I've cut it out. I haven't welded it together yet, but that hood support it's going to come off the cab to actually, instead of running an inner fender on either side, putting those together. But it's been, the weather has been wild and crazy the last couple of weeks. We've had 15 inches of snow, then it was 80 degrees, and then it was back down to 20. No snow, but then we were in a flood warning, tornadoes, and then ice, and then today and the next couple days will be in the 70s, and then I think it's back down to 40s with some rain. But anyways, that's what's been going on today. We'll get to drilling on these up here, drill them out, and then obviously I'll be ordering new ones of those, so that's more money spent that I wasn't planning on. Got the pilot holes drilled in, all of them, for drilling the bigger holes out. It's a lot of fun with a nice little war wound. So you can always tell the project's going good when the thing you're trying to remove is under the cab and the bed, and you're above the bed drilling out the holes. So we're going to keep working on it. So as you can tell, it's going really well. We're going to have to grind those out and grind them out and piece them out. I've got the new bolts on the way, so I'll go ahead and upload this video, make this just a part one of what was originally supposed to be English. What was originally supposed to be just dropping the tank, but with where the sending unit lines are, it does make it a little more difficult. So, but hopefully next episode will involve bed off, tank out, and then reverse the order. Tank back in, bed on, and then make sure everything is tucked up nice and neat, and have a first fire and have it run off of the new fuel pump instead of how we had it over in the field and just running off of spraying fuel into the carburetor and bypassing the non-working pump. So thank you guys for watching again, and we'll see you on the next one.